in the 8 on my order, hustler snoring. Joe Jackson the grind, I beat the sun every morning and I had a long day. I'm like sway, it gets dark if I run the wrong way. And just thinking back on my life, every answer was like a price. On the track was in the fashion, but fast, be honest, advice. I was rapping, trying to get nice. Sort of like chess games, I had to hold my horses and sacrifice on my nights. Walking me from the stool when I ain't had no ride. All we saw is Jack, it was one side, more too wide. He let his gun slide on both sides. He kept it simple and cold and carried 19145. American Eagle bullets off something side of the twins who play a game with your life and they busting out like the Sims. All the things that was killing us settled in as the norm in a regular comic form. Rebels who got informed to the devil without his arms, to the melon and not the storm. We would stay away from a way that was delicate, common wrong. Learning he picked the way for us. Quickly I found wisdom. I'm trying to find the sound instead of God. My biggest mistake was looking at all these other clowns instead of God. I use my talent now for better vibe. I try to put it to waste and wind up blowing down like Jello Bob. He gon' show us brave for we is big. I put it out, be aware. I rather hear the horns than see it big. I'm being thankful I'm awake and I'm aware and free. Keeping faith and staying grateful if I'm fearing greed. So I'm rapping Christ like I'm late to catch a flight. Cause I'm trying to make it to the gate before my spirit leaves. Everybody wants
Crazy.
So that's the track that we're about to break down. For those people that just came in, my name is AJ. Go by Logical Beatman. That was just Sean Smith's Heaven that I produced, and we're about to dive into Ableton right now, which is the software choice that I use. Matter of fact, let me give you guys a little bit of history. So I've been producing for roughly 15 years, give or take a few years. Started out on what's called an MPC. Does anybody know what that is? Yeah, no. Matter of fact, no. I started out on the 909, which is like an old step sequencer drum machine. Moved on to the MPC, then moved on to Logic Pro. And then totally switched my workflow, and now we're totally in Ableton. What's up?
What made you switch from Logic Pro to Ableton?
It had a lot to deal with workflow, and that's basically the overall concept of everything today that we're gonna go over. Workflow is key. Like, if your workflow is trash, then your music production is gonna be trash as well.
Is that where you got your name from?
That's the same thing.
It's not. Ironically, I actually had the name before when I was still using the MPC, and then when I switched over, everyone was like, "Oh, of course your name is Logic. You use Logic Pro. Like, it makes sense."
So,
but no.
So where did the name Logic come from?
Honestly, I don't know. I was literally driving down the street one day and it just clicked. Like, I don't have a crazy backstory. It just happened. And I've been rocking with that name for a lot of years. So at this point, it's like, can't really change it.
Right. What about the logo? Like with the owl? Like, where did that come from? How does that like tie in with Logic.
Owls are wise, Logic.
Okay.
Alright, let's jump into Ableton. So this is, if it'll load up, come on, don't crash on me, here we go. Alright, so as you can see, for the most part, and excuse me for sitting down, I tried to move this screen, but it's like bolted onto the desk, so if y'all can't see me, I apologize. So this is the session. It's super duper organized, and no, I did not just do this just for the sake of this workshop. Like, this is, for the most part, how my workflow is. Super organized, color graded, all of that stuff. I want to know where exactly everything is. So workflow wise, this is Ableton Live. This is the new version, Ableton 10. My workflow basically is this program, and I have a piece of hardware that's called the Ableton Push, and that's kind of like a controller that controls everything inside of here. So just by looking at it, I always keep the original sample, because obviously this track in particular, I use the sample. So this is the sample right here. Let me actually take all of the wart markers and chops off, and I'll play for you guys this.
How much does a software like Ableton cost?
This costs $7.99.
$7.99.
And then the piece of hardware was $800 as well.
So to get Ableton and the hardware that it comes with, it was about $1,600. Does this work on any laptop or?
Yeah, it works on Mac and PC.
Okay.
And that was another thing that I like about it too. I work on Mac, but
do you have to have a certain amount of memory or?
they have certain requirements. I believe it's at least an i5 processor and at least 4 gigs of RAM. It can work on other stuff, but if you want it to perform well, you have to have certain criteria. Let me make sure it's not where, and it's not. Where is? Oh, that makes sense. Okay, it was muted. Here we go. All right. So this is the original sample. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Everybody wants to go to heaven. But nobody. And how I found this sample was me and my brother were literally about to make a beat for something totally different. Went on YouTube to dig for some samples, and an ad popped up for a video game. I believe it was Mafia 3, and this played. And as soon as I heard it, everybody wants to go to heaven, I said, what is that? I need to find out what that sample is. And Ice Cube sampled it originally. I had to dig really hard to find this sample, and then when I found it, I knew I was going to get busy on it. So this is the original sample. What's up?
Is that something that you usually do? Like,
there is. In order for it to be released to the public, in most cases, you have to get it cleared by the original artist. Now, this one, because the song picked up so much steam behind it, they had to move forward with getting it cleared.
so it's not just I was always under the assumption that like you had to be selling it in order for them to like come after you or you to run into some kind of issues with clearance.
That technically is true, but that's a huge gray area. And it's in one of those, no pun intended. But if you're selling the project and it's on all digital platforms and it picks up a huge amount of steam behind it, you're getting radio play, you're on what is it called? BET Jams now, was MTV Jams. All of that, it's a good chance the artist that you sampled is gonna find out about it, and then you're either gonna get sued or they're gonna ask for all of the royalties.
Okay, and that's from like streaming and stuff now like that, because now you don't have to actually sell the song and get paid from it. Is that okay?
So this is the sample. And what I would do is I'll go into it by double clicking it, and you see all these yellow markers? These are all of the chops. So what that is going in and separating individual parts of the song so that I can put them on that controller that I was talking about and then play it in different orders and basically make it sound totally different. In this case, it sounds just about the same, and I'm going to show you guys what I did to it, but another example, I'll show you something where I turned one song into something totally different. And if I didn't play you guys the sample, you wouldn't even know that I sampled it. And that's really the key with sampling. You want to make it your own. Some people will say, you know, if you're a sample-based producer, which I am, it's not original. You're taking something else and basically using it as your own. It's not necessarily true, and granted, it is based off of opinion. But when I show you guys kind of some of the tricks to how to make it sound like something totally different and make it your own, I'm basically playing it as an instrument. But let's dive into this. So you see all of these yellow points. They're called work markers in Ableton. Oh, my bad. Did I see that good?
Yeah, because I couldn't even see the yellow marker.
Oh, all right. All right, so these are called work markers in Ableton. In other programs like Reason and stuff, they're just slices or chops. It's all the same terminology, it's just different programs. So you see I went in here. Oh, that's going solo. That. Let's go here. All right, it's deleted. Okay. That's fine. So let's go in here. And here is the chop. So. And what I end up, it sounds super slow like that because these work markers actually keep it on tempo. I switched the tempo of the original track to make it a little bit faster. So this blue marker right here, you see this is like everything is separated. I have all my drums here. I have all my instruments here, and it's all grouped together. So then this way when I go to mix down the record, it makes it a lot easier. This is all extra vocals. This is actually all of Eric right here because he was actually a part of this process. This is all Eric too, and so is this part. Khalil, that's my brother. All his vocals right here. And when I solo this part for you guys, you're probably gonna be blown away. So let's actually press play.
We had a question back here.
What's up?
I was gonna say, how long does it take for you to get the final cut? For you to get the final product?
It's different in every single case. Sometimes it takes me 5 minutes. Other times it takes me a week. Sometimes it takes me a month. It all depends. And when those times where it takes that long, like a month, is usually because I'm working with different musicians and I'm waiting for them to send me back what they did to me. But as far as me, I can make a beat 10, 15, 30 minutes quick. But if it's more intricate like this, it's going to take a little bit of time. What's up?
You sort of answered me. I was gonna ask if there's like an average time frame for this.
For this type of track, this one in particular took me about 5 hours. And it was just because of how intricate everything was. That was me. Then we went back, I added different musicians on it. I had a bass player, he added some stuff on it, keyboard player, and then all of the vocals. And I'm gonna go over the vocals and why we added everything into that too.
That 5 hours was that like you sitting down at one time 5 hours?
Yep.
Or that was
Yep. So that was me sitting down, chopping up the sample, figuring out what exactly I wanted to do with it, changing the pitch back and forth, which I'm about to go into all of that now. Adding the drums. Well, first finding the right drums, because that's super, super important. You can't have a style of drums. Like if I were to put trap drums on this, it would not sound right at all, because this isn't that type of feel. Let's hit play real quick. So this right here, this blue, turn it down. This blue part is what's called the MIDI track. Basically, when I chop all of those sections, I put them on an instrument track so that when I had the controller, when I press the pads, it basically triggers that section in the song that I chopped up. So when I load this up, you see how it's just these little dots? That's each time I hit the controller to trigger that one part. Sometimes when you go to chop stuff up, you can actually section out this and then place them, but that just takes way too much time. So you put it on a MIDI track, you can chop it up, do whatever you want, reverse it, slow it down, and I actually show you that. So this is what all of the chops look like that I did. In total, there was 71 different slices. The most I've ever done was 230, and I had to put it on 2 different things. It was way too much, and I only used like 4 of the chops.
How long was that song?
What do you mean? Like how long did it take me?
I mean, like, how long was the song that you had to do 230 slices for?
Honestly, I never know what I'm gonna actually use until I slice it up. Like I have an idea, but until I slice it up and start playing with it, I don't know what's gonna come out. I go off a feeling. Some producers, when they make beats, they have an idea of an artist already in mind that they may happen to be working with, or they may even just have a certain style that they're that's just their signature sound. Me, I go off of my mood for the day. So if I'm angry, it's a good chance I'm gonna make some hard track beats. If I'm feeling any type of way, like I just go off of that feeling for that day. And I feel like that's why my sound is so versatile. And it took me a while to get to that type of point, because when you first start out, you're gonna try to sound like everybody else. And that's also a part of learning. You wanna mimic those other producers so that you can figure out how they do certain things, and then you flip it and make it your own. When I first started out, my favorite producer is Jay Dilla. So I copied him like to the T with chopping stuff up. Madlib, same thing. Wu-Tang, same, or RZA, same thing. I mimicked exactly what they were doing, even down to the hardware that they were using. And then once I figured out how they were doing everything, boom, now let me figure out how I can make this my own and change the workflow up a little bit so that it doesn't sound like them, but it sounds like me. So this is that. So for the pitch of the chops, all I did was just turn it up +1. So if I were to turn it up more, whoa, too much playing. Here we go. Let me slow this down. And you just change it. So I had on +1, this reverse thing, and this is like a little template that I made. This reverses it, which is gonna sound weird. Slower. And you see how, like, just off of the bat, there's a lot of different stuff that you can do to make it sound totally different. So let's put that back up. Take that reverse off. So yeah, 71 slices. And that was the intro part. We have this little noise thing. That was really nothing. It was just for texture. Bass line, I'll run down that in a second. Let's dive into these vocals real quick. So this part right here. I asked Eric to come in on this part because in the sample, the music started to come in on that particular part in the sample. I didn't want any of the music. I wanted to basically take that acapella portion and put my own music behind it. So in that part, it's crucial because that's right before the beat drops. So I asked Eric to come in and re-sing that part, and layered it, and added a whole bunch of different textures and stuff in it. So when you hear this part, this is E. Added a few plugins on them. this kind of gave the microphone that we were using a little more vintage feel. This is just texture stuff. That's not really important. And then this is the reverb that I choose. The reverb just adds a little bit of room to it. So yeah, that's that part. Then when the beat drops, so let's dive into the drums first. Alright, so the drums, which in most cases is the most important part of your production.
Yes, it
If
is.
it's not moving, it's not gonna sell. No artist is gonna want it if they can't bop their head, or if it's off the grid, or off tempo, or if it just feels weird. People aren't gonna like it. So the drums really drive the record. So with this one, you got your kick here. Don't want to blow them out. Can y'all hear it good? Y'all still with me, right? It's super quiet. So I layered my kicks, added an EQ on them, which that just changes the frequency. Added this scream in there.
That scream is like classic.
Mm-hmm.
I hear screams in the yeah.
There's that one. This fill, which is like a drum fill. Come on, smartboard. Okay, plays when it wants to. That's cool. This is like a little hi-hat loop. Just add some texture to it. Add some movement to it. The snare. Snare 2, that's for a change up. So all together. Now say if I took this part out. Hear how that sounds like super stiff, and it's not, it doesn't move as much. But when you put that back in, it adds a little bit more to it. What is it?
Is that like a second?
Yeah, it's basically just a drum break. And I believe I resampled this. This was a lot more high pitched, it was more like this. So I brought it down and gave it that. Alright, so that's the drums. Any question about drums before I move on to the instruments?
Are you a musician yourself? Do you play drums? Like,
So I don't. But because I've been on the drum machine for so long, I've learned different pockets. So there's a huge, not battle within the production community, but kind of a back and forth. There's something called quantizing. Does anybody know what that is? Kind of? Nah. Quantizing is basically when you take something like, say if I'm on the controller that I use, and I do a drum pattern. After it's recorded into the software, you can quantize it, which basically means you lock it to the certain tempo that you're in. When I first started out, I didn't have quantizing, so I had to learn how to follow the tempo. So there's a huge back and forth with, oh, if you quantize, it doesn't have that natural feel to it, like an actual drummer. So I actually learned how to not quantize my drums. And because of that, I feel like I kind of have the feel of a drummer, but if you put me in front of the set, I'm gonna just look at it, and yeah, it's not gonna be a good time. I can play a little bit of keys, but I'm not fluent. I always work with a bunch of musicians, and I credit them all the time. Any other questions about drums? What's up?
Like, how do you Well, I always see online, right? Where it'll be like a famous producer will be like selling his drum kits or drum or sound packs, stuff like that. Like, all right, let's say Mustard or 808 or 808 or 808 Mafia or any of them, right? They had like everybody has like a signature like drum, you know what I mean? Or signature, like how do you make, how do you take the same drums that, I mean, because there's only so many drums, right? How do you,
make it your own?
Yeah, how do you?
All right, I'm gonna dive back into the drums real quick. That's a great question. So, for instance, these kits, and let me see if I can actually find where. No. All right, so this kit right here. That sounds like that by itself. Now I got this in one drum sample pack, so this isn't like my own sound. What I did was to make it sound different is sometimes you want to stack two kicks on top of each other, or you want to stack different sounds on top of each other to basically make a new sound. So in this particular instance, I took this kick and this kick. Here, that one has a lot more punch to it. So this one has the bottom and that rumble, and then this one has the top end. When you merge them together, it sounds like. And then you add this EQ on it, and what this is doing is this is basically like a frequency shifter, so it just changes the sound. So without it, this is what it sounds like. I didn't like how much of the low end was in there because I knew I was going to have a bass player come in, and if that frequency is there, it's going to clash with the bass. So what I did was pull up the EQ, hear how it's a lot more present, a lot more in your face, cutting all of this low end out, raising it up a little bit, and then cutting some of the high out. And then that basically made it like my own sound. And you can do that a lot with 808s. You can do that with snares, percussion loops, all of that stuff. It's just about sound manipulation. EQ, compression, distortion, all of these different tools that basically come stock with any digital audio workstation that you use. Everything is in there to manipulate audio. It's in Logic, it's in Reason. What else is there? Studio One. They all come standard. FL Studio. I don't like FL like that, but if you use it, I ain't mad at you. It's the cheat code.
I guess it's kind of a side note, but why is the 808 called an 808 opposed to all the other?
Because it came from a drum machine that was called the TR-808, and that was the sound. It was a bass, and then it was a kick. I started out on the one that was right after it, which was the 909, and it didn't have that sub on it.
Because I never hear of anybody like in the industry like use it.
Referencing that?
Yeah, like it's a 909 or
Right. Yep. That's where it comes from. It comes from the TR. It's made by Roland. It's a drum machine called the TR-808.
Is that still used, the 909?
Nah, those things are like ancient now. I still have mine, but I never use them.
Sound wise, like the bass.
Oh yeah, those sounds are still being used.
Okay.
Yep, they're just in libraries, but the actual machines, they're not being used like that anymore. So let's load up the instruments real quick. So of course we got the sample, which is in this blue. We have the bass, which my bass player, Sean Lowe, he played. No, this is actually key bass. Hold on real quick, because I forgot in this one I did two basses. So this is the bass, and this is more of the low end. Then we added a synth bass on top of it, and that's what this one is. So this is the regular bass. My bass player came in and played this. Then this is the more synthy bass. How adding them together just adds more punch to it. We added strings later on, but I'm gonna play what everything sounds like, just the instruments. Without the same. And then that with the sample. Then we had a change up part where we added strings, and this is that set of vocals that I told you was like amazing. And it's not just because it's my brother. His name's Khalil, and this is what he did to it. Let me get instruments. Solo this out.
Everybody wants to go to heaven, heaven, heaven.
So there's a 5-part harmony on this part.
Everybody wants to go to heaven.
And all this was him coming into the session saying, all right, I want to add something else to make the track our own. So he went in saying the same thing, but just put it in his tone. The high part.
Everybody wants to go to heaven. Everybody wants to go to heaven. 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 Everybody wants to go to heaven. 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 Everybody wants to go to heaven. 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 Everybody wants to go to heaven.
Starting to bring the drums back in. And then the full thing back. The last thing that we added on that part with his acapella was we changed the piano. So this is the piano. More dramatic. And then to even add more drama to it, we added strings. And then the bass changed a little bit. And last thing, and then I'll take whatever questions you guys got. This bass lick towards the end really stands out in the track. And this is my bass player, Sean. And that's the Heaven beat in a nutshell. I know I just threw a lot at you, so I know it's not like extremely simple. But did you guys follow it along for the most part? You guys with me? Got any questions about the workflow or what's up?
This might be a bit random. The 5-part harmony thing, was Eric vocal in that too? Or?
It wasn't. Eric's vocals was in the beginning, and then my brother Khalil did the ending part. And then on the actual record, you'll hear a female vocal. What's her name? Brittany. She came in at the very last minute on the day we had to hand in the project to add some more onto it, just to add kind of like a back and forth, kind of like in church, just a call and response type thing. And we wanted a female for that part.
So then you had to go back and like remix and master it again?
So I didn't mix the overall record, but yes,
Yeah.
we did have to do it.
I had a question about Khalil's with the 5 like different voices he used, not voices, but you know what I mean. The first 2, right? It sounded like when you were playing, I guess like halfway through, it kind of sounded like it changed. Like was that him or was that an effect?
That was him. That was not an effect. All of that was him. I don't have. You'll see. I'm running through all of these tracks now. Down here is where I would have any effects on his vocals. There's nothing. Like that was all him.
Okay.
Down in this part, I was saying.
Right.
Any effects would be here. Nothing was on his vocal.
Like I didn't, notice it on the, I guess, under them first two.
Mhm.
So on the first two when you were playing it, it sounded like halfway through.
Mhm.
It's like he added his own like auto tune to it. Like
Yeah, he changed the pitch basically just to make the harmony different.
that's crazy.
That was all. Yeah. What's up?
Do you often work with vocalists who often demand like bigger parts in the tracks that you make?
Not necessarily. I'm like, the people that I work with, it's kind of a tight-knit group, so I'm like, we're like family. So when I ask someone to come in on the project, it's really, they kind of take my direction and then just run with it. So if they add more, cool. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna take what I actually need for the record and then use that. But no, I haven't had anybody actually demand to have more. You haven't done that, right?
No,
All
okay,
right.
so the only thing I demand is just green Skittles. That's all.
Green Skittles, that's right. And I always run out, and it's the sour ones, right?
Right, green sour
Yeah.
Skittles, that's all.
I got a question for both of y'all. You're Eric Westbrook, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like I'm gonna use Khalil's part as an example, but I'm directing it at both of y'all because I mean in like a broad scale whenever you guys are collaborating on a beat. Like in this case, like did you like kind of direct Khalil on like how to do it, or you kind of just say, yo bro, just jump in here and do your thing?
So this track in particular, I knew that in the beginning that piece of the sample was missing. So Eric was actually in the studio right after I made it. So I was like, yo, this is perfect. If you can help out, awesome. So that part, I gave him direction because I actually specifically needed something. I needed something for the end, but I didn't know what I needed. So I just told him, yo, do you and send me whatever. He sent me way more than just these 5 vocals.
And you just trimmed it down.
Yep.
So that's
Same thing with Eric. We recorded way more,
So
but
same
we
thing.
chopped it down, and this is what I kept.
Is it always like that where like he says, yo Eric, I need you to do something to this and just what I mean? Or does he go, yo, like this is what I need it done this way? Like does he kind of direct you, or it's kind of like
Sometimes he directs me, and sometimes I like hear something, and he'll be like, yo, what do you hear? And I'll get in there and I'll do something, and he'll be like, yo, I'll keep it. So it really is a partnership, and it's like being open, just being willing, like open. Because I gotta stay open. And I'm always like blown away by what AJ produces, what Logic does, and I'm always happy with it. But we gotta stay open to each other's ideas, because you never know. So if he hears something, I gotta trust him.
wow.
The same way he trusts me if I hear something.
It's